Thank you for joining us today for the virtual Sunday service with the Center for Creative Living. CCL, a charter of the Universal Church of the Master, has served and supported the spiritual needs of its community here in the Bay Area for over 20 years.
Welcome, welcome. If everybody could please be seated. Good morning. Hey, did you like that extra hour? Isn't that wonderful? It's always nice when you have extra time. Yay. Good morning. I'm so delighted to have everybody here this morning. If you could please have a seat. And this is an interesting day. We're in the middle of Diwali. And for those of you who don't know what that is, this is a wonderful, wonderful celebration that is celebrated by people of the Jain religion, Sikhs. It's also celebrated by Hindus and Buddhists. And it is bringing in the light to the energy of the planet. And it's done by lighting lots of candles and enjoying it. But right now, in the midst of this pandemic, it's bringing in the light of the energy of the spirit, that light within you. So if you feel like, oh my gosh, it's been dark days, it has. So let's lighten up today. Just think of, yay, this is a day where the light starts coming back on the planet, particularly right now in downtown San Jose, okay? And because, this is not just the light of the sun or the light of the lights, but it's also the light of the spirit. How many of you felt that during the pandemic, your spirit was kind of heavy, dark? There was not much you could do. Well, just think of this. The light of Diwali brings about wisdom and truth. The truth of the matter is that you are all born of the Creator. We all are a part of the Creator's energy. So no matter what religion you are, and that's one of the things that we do here at CCL, if you were raised Christian, if you were raised Jewish, if you were raised Hindu, if you were raised Sikh, whatever you have been raised, you are welcome, because this is a multi-faith church. And so we want to thank you so much for joining us here. We have a lot of wonderful things going on, namely our speaker today is going to be our Dr. Ayleen. We're always so excited about having her here. Yes. And before we start out, I'd like to do a meditation. And we have some just really meditative music, Maestro? And could we turn down the lights? Is that possible? Volunteers here. Yes, I know, she told me. There she is. Thank you, Gabrielle. Gabrielle certainly is our light bringer. For those of you who don't know, Gabrielle is the executive director here at the Billy DeFrank Center. And come on up, electrified hair. Yeah, you have to see it in the real light. Yeah, and thank you so much. We so enjoy being here in your bailiwick, as it were. Thank you. Thank you. This is just, as I said, Diwali is one of those times when there's so much going on and so much excitement happening in all over the world. And here in California, usually we don't celebrate it. But now that I've mentioned it, you're going to see it on TV. You're going to notice a lot of celebrations going on. Well, speaking of celebrations, anybody have a birthday this week? Anyone have a birthday this week? What happened? We moved over here from the other place with all these birthdays and got here and nobody has one. Well, I've got purple beads. If anybody decides maybe they were born this week, let me know. They're bright and shiny, and they're really, I really like them. So there we go. They're now hat beads. They've changed the. How many of you wish you could do that? You could change who you are just by putting beads on. Yeah, well, you do every day. Every day you make a choice of who you're going to be that day. And isn't it great when some days you want to be something completely different? How about out of state? Oh, out of pain. For those of you who don't know, this is my wife, Corky. Stand up, Corky, and take a bow. Yeah, she has her leg has been really bothering her, so she is wearing a pirate's boot. So if she says "arg," you'll know what it's all about. That's your booty. Okay. Good, it's your booty. Okay, I'll go with that. Okay, anybody have any announcements they'd like to make? Gabrielle, any announcements coming up? What's happening with gay bingo?
It's actually Rainbow Bingo now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Rainbow Bingo's every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. The doors open at 6:15. It's $15. It's a way we do fundraising, but it is gambling. So anyone under 18 cannot come.
Oh,
And
boo.
I know you're all disappointed.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
About bingo, we've been coming every Wednesday, and it's
a lot of fun.
We have a blast, and Gabrielle and everybody is so nice, and it's so much fun, and I think everybody should come.
And if you're not tuned into the DeFrank newsletter, please join and read what's going on. There's so many different things going on. They're still Zooming a lot of it, but other parts of it they're actually having here, like us and bingo and a few other things, okay? Well, I am so excited about the talk today because when we have our wonderful Dr. Eileen, this was going to be How to Find Spirituality in Gaming, which I thought was a good title. And now it's turned to Keeping the Faith When the Answer is No. So I think that's a pretty good title too. So please welcome our wonderful Reverend Dr. Ayleen Augustine. Here comes another one whose hair shines brightly. You know, it's just, I'm jealous. That's it.
We'll get you a wig for it.
Every time when I used to wear wigs, I constantly lost them. My wigs went flying over the landscape like you wouldn't believe. Now with a hat, it seems to stay put a little bit more.
Hats are a beautiful thing.
Hats are a beautiful thing. Where would you want me so I'm out of your way?
Pretty much. I'm just gonna be like right here, so you can just have a seat right there.
Okay.
That's okay.
Chair.
Yes, thank you. Oh, I love having women take care of me. Thank you, dear.
I know. It's like you're. Well, good morning, everyone. And it's so wonderful to see everyone's faces here. It is such a blessing to be able to come here and not just share in fellowship, but just share in human contact and to be able to bear witness to the things that a lot of people are going through. Because, I mean, I think that everybody has something that they're carrying. And I want to say at the outset, I'm tremendously proud of you, because I know that each and every one of you are bearing something that you are keeping to yourself. You're bearing something that is just between you and spirit, maybe because you don't know if somebody else could hold that space for you, or maybe it's just because, there's a story of, self-judgment wrapped around it. But whatever it is that you're carrying, whatever you're holding, whatever you are being so brave to just get up in the morning and get out of bed and take a step, because for some, that takes that huge amount of courage. So I'm proud of you. And I honor each and every one of you, because there are those tough times. My mom had a saying, I don't know what's in the big book, but I will always trust the one who wrote it. And that was her way of saying that she accepted that she didn't know what was going to be coming her way, but she trusted that there was someone who was going to be there with her through it. My mom had a lot of very amazing sayings, mostly about spirituality. My father did too, but his were a bit more pragmatic. His were, well, I was born on a Wednesday, but it sure as heck wasn't last Wednesday. And, he always had interesting phrases about, it's like quiet as a mouse peeing on cotton, or quiet as a mouse peeing on cotton, or, don't pee on my head and tell me it's raining. I wondered what his obsession with urine analogies were, but, as a doctor, it's like, okay, I can embrace that. But my mother's sayings were usually something that she brought out right when I needed it most. And I was going through a very difficult time where I was really questioning, whether or not there was any type of a guiding force in the universe and whether it cared about me, because I was getting kind of convinced that it didn't. And I remember one day my mom just came and sat down quietly next to me. And out of nowhere, she said, God answers prayers in 3 ways. First, God says no. Because even though what you want, you think is the best thing for you, even though you really, really want this in the moment, I know it isn't what's best for you. And I'm willing to let you be mad at me, because I know that one day you'll look back and you'll realize that I had something so much better in mind for you. And I love you so much that I only want what's best. The second way God answers prayers is not yet. Because even though I know that you're suffering and it breaks my heart, please understand that I'm right there with you. And if you're willing to trust me just a little bit further, you'll understand why I asked you to wait, because there was a gift that I had hidden in this for you. And once you receive that gift, you'll get whatever it is you want, and it will pass. And the third way God answers prayers is I thought you'd never ask. And I remembered when my mom shared that with me. And it has sustained me through so much in my life. Because there were times, and today we're going to talk about when the answer's no. How do we hold on? How do we trust that we're still being protected? How do we trust that that is actually where we need to be, even though it's the last place we want to be? How can we trust that when somebody else knows the difference between what we want and what we need? So I'm sure that everyone in here can think of a time when they really wanted something badly, when they prayed for it, when they made vision boards, when they did everything that they could. And the answer was no. And we all remember what that feeling was like. That feeling of maybe no one's listening. Maybe I'm on my own. It's a natural fear. It's a natural reaction. Nobody likes to be disappointed. And often the burnt hand teaches best, as Gandalf said. Often it's through those things that test us and challenge us the most that we grow the most. And I trust that if something's being brought to me, it is because it is the best thing for me, whether in that moment I like it or not. I've got a saying that life is fun until it isn't, and it sucks until it doesn't. And no matter how much fun I'm having, I know at some point it's going to suck. And no matter how much it sucks, at some point it's going to be fun again. And there are those times when I'm like, hey, this sucks. And I know. It's like, no, seriously, this sucks. And I'm scared. And I hear back a very gentle, I know, and I'm sorry. I know this is really hard, and I know you feel kind of alone, but do you trust me? And I think to myself, yeah, because you've always been there. Even when I didn't know I needed you, you were there. And you have helped me overcome 100% of everything I've ever been through. Every person here has overcome 100% of everything you have ever faced. And that's a pretty darn good average. It may not have always been pretty, and it may not have always been the solution you wanted, but you survived it and you learned something and you grew. We all do. And yes, I am an avid gamer. And I enjoy video games. And I enjoy the fact that I can just go back to the last save. If I don't like where I am, if I don't like what's going on, I can go back to the last save and go, okay, I can take it from there. Well, there are certain games that don't let you, and it really irritates me. It's like, seriously, you're sending me all the way back to the beginning? Gamers out there know what I'm talking about. But in life, we don't get to go back to the last save. We don't get to go back because we're where we are because of choices that we've made. We're where we are because of choices that other people have made, which we can't always control. But we're where we are, and we're not alone. And that's something that's important to remember. You have never been alone. None of us have ever been alone. And there are as many different viewpoints of Creator as there are people who acknowledge it. Each and every one of us have a unique vision, have a unique relationship with whatever it is that you see as that consciousness who is there when we need them most. One of my mom's favorite poems was Footprints, because of the fact that, when you saw one set of prints, that was when I carried you. And how many of us can feel ourselves being carried? My youngest son, when he was a child, had night terrors. And anybody who has ever dealt with someone with night terrors or experienced them yourself, first off, I'm sorry. He was less than 2. And I would hear him screaming and afraid. And I would go to him and I'd try to hold him, and he would fight me. And it was hard because all I wanted to do was for him to feel how much I loved him, how much I would keep him safe, how safe he was with me. But in that moment, he was still stuck in the nightmare. And after a while, he would calm down. He would feel me holding him. He would feel my love. He would feel the heart of a mother. And then he would be able to sleep and rest. And it was so hard in those moments that he didn't know I was there, that he couldn't feel me. How many times are we caught in the nightmare and we don't feel that presence with us? How many times do we think that we're just alone in the dark? You know, anybody remember Horton Hears a Who? And at that crucial moment when the Who's were saying, we are here, we are here, we are here, and no one could hear them. Sometimes I think of Creator that way. And it actually touches my heart, and I actually feel bad, especially as a parent. Those times when my love wasn't felt. Those times when my love wasn't believed. Those times that my kids felt like I didn't understand them or I didn't care what they were going through. Any other parents in the room can relate to that? And all you wanted was for them to feel your love, to let them know, I know that you don't like the decision I made, but I did it because it was the best thing I could think of for you. But they didn't notice it. My sons, they're in their 30s now. And it's so funny because we have conversations and I will tell them, it's like, you know what? I may not have done everything right, but there was never a time that I made a choice for you because I believed it was bad for you or I didn't care. And they now know. It's like, yeah, Mom, we know. We think we even knew it then. It's just we were upset. We were young. All we thought about was that thing that you were denying us. I had a friend who, there was one of those like huge mega lotteries. And he made a vision board and he did all this stuff. And he said he even bought stuff on his credit card because he knew he was going to win that lottery. And he prayed and he did all these things and he didn't win. And his response was looking up and going, well, thanks, Creator. And I'm like, wow. How about, thanks, Creator, I woke up this morning, because not everybody did. Thanks, Creator, because I could get out of bed unassisted, because not everybody can. How about, thanks, Creator, because I had the option to eat this morning, and I know many go hungry. So there's always reasons to say thanks. And it's perfectly natural not always to feel grateful. We all have those times when it's like, ugh, really? We all have those moments. And, I have a tendency to create like little phrases out of certain words. The word fine, to me, stands for focused, inspired, nurtured, and empowered. Grief is getting real in every feeling. And faith is finding acknowledgement in the hurting. It's when I'm in that place where it hurts and it's hard. And yet I feel that even though Creator has an infinite number of things to deal with, in each and every second, I'm noticed. What I'm going through is noticed. And one way or another, I will get the help that I need. I just have to trust. And grief is an important part of dealing when the answer to a prayer is no. Because we do go through that grieving process. My mother was a tremendous woman of faith. And she lost her husband, my father. 2 years later, she lost my sister, her child. And then about a couple of weeks after my sister died of breast cancer, she found the lump in her own breast. And she prayed. She prayed for my father. She prayed for my sister. And then she prayed, saying, please, I have people I need to take care of. I've got my grandchildren. My mother had custody of my sister's children. And she prayed, and she got sicker. She didn't tell anyone about the lump or seek treatment for it for almost 2 years as it grew within her. Finally, she had to acknowledge it. The interesting thing was my sister showed up to me in a dream. And at that point, I was very irritated with her because I felt she left me to take care of a lot of things. And it's okay to be angry at those who pass because it's a natural thing. It was a part of my grief. And she said, you know what? I'm sorry for all you're going through, but it's going to get worse. And I'm like, really? How? And she said, Mom has breast cancer. And in 3 days, she's going to tell you. And what I need you to remember is first, she's going to be okay with you. Then she's going to be okay with me. And exactly 3 days later, my mother informed me about the lump that had now grown huge. And through her process, which, went its route, and at the end of her time, when she was over at the VA hospice, and she expressed to me one day, I'm afraid I've lost my faith. And I looked back at her and I reminded her of something she had told me. If you're worried that you've lost your faith, you haven't, because if you did, it wouldn't matter. That seemed to comfort her a bit, and I said, well, maybe you need to have a talk with God. Because my mother was very angry. She was going through her own grief process at being told no. No, you're not going to get better. And, as we know, the stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And my mom had to go through those stages as a result of the answer no. Her denial was during that time when she kept thinking that she could pray that lump away. Then anger. How dare you take my best friend, my husband, and then you take my child, and then you take me? I have dedicated my life to you. How could you do this? And she experienced that anger. Anybody here can relate to that anger? This isn't fair. Then she went into bargaining. Please just give me more time. You can take me, but at least give me more time. And then depression, which was when she thought she lost her faith. When she felt alone. There's a thing called the dark night of the soul. And that is a place where we feel truly alone. We're in the darkness. Hope is gone. And it's like we're laid bare. But then one day I went in and she was kind of smiling gently and looking out the window. And she said, she was thinking back to when my dad passed. And she said, look out that window. And I looked out the window and I saw a tree. And she said, do you remember that tree? And I was thinking back, because I had seen it many times, but then I really looked at it and I thought, wait a minute, I know that tree. It was the tree that I looked out the window when my father passed. It turned out my mother was in the same room. And I asked the nurse, I said, did this used to be intensive care? And she said, yes. My mother was in the same room that my father had passed in. And then she said, I was feeling very bad. And then I heard a little voice say, you're not alone. I never took pleasure in your pain. And even though I know that this was really hard, I knew that I would always be with you. And now you're going to be rejoined to those who you love. Your children are grown. You did everything right. And now you're coming back to be with me. And you earned this. This isn't a punishment. And in that, my mother found her faith again. She said, I get it. My answer was no, but there was something better. And this is a path that every single one of us is going to take. And in her moment of doubt, that whisper came in that said, "You're not alone. You never have been. I love you." So what is it that we can do, for the big no's and the little no's? Sometimes it's, "Oh, please let there be a parking spot that's close to the door." And we get there and somebody just like zips into it. I mean, that's a little no. Wow, can you hold the green light just for a little bit because I'm almost up to the intersection? Nah. The person in front of you is going to decide, well, it's still green, but it's going to be yellow any minute, so I'm going to stop. There are big no's and there are little no's, but in each and every one of them, we are loved. We're not alone. And when we can be able to find peace with the no, see that there's a bigger picture to the no, we can be able to reach that place where the no is not the important thing. Okay, it sucks not to get what you want. Recently, I had to evacuate from my home. And a part of that was, I was packing things up and I had my little envelope. And those of you who are a little bit older, remember, it's like you always have an envelope of cash, at home to cover your bills just in case, my little emergency stash. And, I had enough to pay my rent and any other bills that I had to pay for the month. So I go to my evacuation place, staying with a friend, and then I came home. I couldn't find that envelope. Nowhere. I knew it was there. And then it was like, oh, okay. And it's like, okay, hey. My mother also taught me, that if I ever lost anything to say, if there's something lost that can't be found, please, St. Anthony, look around. And it always worked. Not this time. My answer was no. And it was like, that's a very costly no. You think? I mean, and I was mad and I had to deal with it. And it's amazing that when we let go of the fact that we've been told no, we open up our possibilities. There are a lot of people who are going through a lot of very hard times. And it's like, well, I just want somebody to give me what I need. And, as opposed to us having to say, it's like, you know what, maybe I need to meet the universe halfway. Maybe I need to find resources to help me out so that I don't have this problem. There's always possibilities. And keep in mind that no may be the best thing that ever happened to you. You just have to wait. So consider the no's in your life and consider how many of them years later you think, you know what, that actually turned out to be a good thing. And always remember, none of us know what's in the big book, but do your best to trust the one who wrote it, because the one who wrote it trusts in you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Eileen, did you ever find the money?
Nope. And it's okay.
Good.
Because I told myself a story. And when we have to deal with a no, if you're making up a story anyway, why not make a good one? So I tell myself that it fell out of my purse and that it was on the sidewalk, and someone who was at the end of their rope, someone who didn't believe, someone who thought they were totally alone and really needed that money. And a little voice said, look down. And that it helped them and it restored their faith and they were able to feed their kids. So if I have to tell myself a story about it, rather than tell myself a story about how dumb I was for losing it, maybe I became the instrument for someone else to be blessed. Yay! Yay! I like that story.
Thank you so very much. And Ed, are we zooming out? And has anybody said anything?
I'm here on Zoom. Hello. Hello, hello.
Okay, good to talk about support from Spirit through challenges. Timely. From Patty, such a wonderful and powerful talk, Dr. Eileen. Thank you for the reminder of staying connected to Spirit.
Yay. That's Patty and Joyce.
Yeah.
It is. That sums it up.
Oh, well, thank you so very much. And Ed, could you just stand and let everybody see your smiling face? This is the voice behind us here. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Ed Ferrero is the reason we Zoom out every week. And I think he's going to be passing the baton. And maybe Dr. Eileen or Corky or somebody's going to be taking over because you can do. He's been making those kind of rumblings about, that's something that we could be doing. Okay. And that feels really good, knowing that we've got people. So if any of you are interested in learning more about video or anything like that, please see Ed and let him know that, hey, I'd like to learn a little bit more about this, and I'd like to find out more about how this works. And I know he'd appreciate showing you, right? Yeah. I have to check. I make these broad statements and then check back to see if it's okay. It's kind of like the way you do things. And so if this is your first Sunday, please sign up. Do we have a sign-up sheet that they can, that we don't? Oh, if this is your first time, please, you have an envelope here, put your name and your email on it, because what we're going to do is send you the CCL Insights. We send it out every week, tells you what we're doing, where we're doing it, and why. And that way we can let you stay in touch with us, because we really like doing that, and it feels darn good. We stopped by the center, our old center, this morning, and they've torn out the wall between the sanctuary and the library, the community room. They're really redoing the place. The energy's gone. We got there and we looked, and we didn't feel like our center anymore. It felt like it was moving on. I think that's what happens when you see something that's being changed, that you realize you don't hold on to it anymore. You let it go. So for those of you wondering what's happening with the old center, it's being redone and remodeled. So that feels really good. The other thing that I would like to talk to you about is that we need some more speakers. We have speakers all the way through Hanukkah, which is great. As you know, we try and hit every great holiday that people celebrate, so we can let you know what it's like that the rest of the world is celebrating. And of course, we're going to be coming into Christmas, which is definitely a Christian holiday that we're going to be celebrating. And one of the things that we're going to do for New Year's is I'm going to be doing predictions. My spirit guide Ma and I are going to do predictions for the new year. So it's going to be one of those rituals that we have been doing for quite a few years. So we've got things going on, but if you have a topic that you would like to speak on, please let us know, because in the beginning of December, we need some speakers. We have Yule and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and Christmas all coming up. So just to know. And our Reverend Annie is going to be doing Hanukkah, and I think possibly with Chris Brown might help too. So if you were raised Jewish and you would like to share some of your religion, let us know. We'd like to hear from you. And if you were raised something completely different, please let us know. We want to know how you see spirit, in what form. And many people do it in many different ways. So we'd like to hear what your way is. And please let us know. You can always reach either Corky or myself. Say, hey, this is what I would like to do. How are we doing? Anybody have anything they'd like to share, since we had this wonderful talk by Dr. Eileen? Anybody have anything that they feel is...
Yes. I know when I was going through what I went through this past year, I had some really dark days. But I remembered, of course, what you always taught me, that I had to just trust that things were going to work out the way they were supposed to work out.
Yeah, and they did, and now you're walking.
Now I'm walking.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I've only known Sherry 50 years. One of those newer recruits to the Doti posse. So, but thank you so much for sharing that. Anybody else have something that they went through this last week that they would like to share?
I do.
This is your
Wow.
place. This is your place where you can where you can do that. What's happened is our wonderful Janet has a cold. She says, please tell people I don't have COVID. I just have a regular garden variety cold, and she isn't here. Sean is off camping in Tehachapi, last I heard. So our musicians are not here this week, but I'm sure they're going to be back next week for listen to our wonderful Joyce Brown, who's going to be speaking. This is a time when we are going to be passing the basket, and I want you to join me in our wonderful Sacrament of Giving. It's on the back of your program, and it says, "Giving to the ministry from which we receive our spiritual support and nurturing is an affirmation in consciousness of the truth that Spirit is a prospering power enriching every area of our lives."
And also the little tag that you have, if you have a thought that you would like to put out for someone, please place that into the basket as well. And if you do not have anything to contribute, just put your hand over it and put in a blessing.
And as you notice, this our little bowl up here is where prayers go. If you have somebody you'd like to pray about or for, and then each week I say prayers with that bowl. And then April, when do you think we're going to be doing our? Is Yule a good time for us to release prayers? Okay, January. Thank you. And for those of you who are following the Goddess Path and you would like to talk to somebody about that, please see April Lucier, and she does goddess retreats and very much works with that energy. Okay. I feel like singing, but you don't want to hear that.
Your beads are hanging nicely.
My beads are hanging nicely? Oh, great. Hey. We've got to have somebody who would like to sing something. Anybody who's got a song they'd like to share? Only in your car? We'll have to bring your car in here. I know there's people in here that have a voice. Tracy, do you have a song? Okay. Oh, well, that's fine. We're so glad to have you here, and if you want to say something, fine, and if not, if you don't want to sing something, that's fine. But I know you have a beautiful voice. So one of these Sundays, you're going to sing for us? Okay, thank you so much. And for those of you who haven't met Tracy before, we want to say welcome. Okay.
Here, I've got that fat book. I worked professionally since I was 13. Believe it or not, I did it through the summer at the performing arts there, and then I started junior high. I'm that girl. I've been working all along. The boyfriend, but I'm that girl. I want to give to the church all that I have to give. I'm doing a show to help myself get better.
Okay.
For kids. Everybody feel that we need something similar to believe it. It's our town, it's the 1978 version. I've said it in Gilroy because there's a place that never changes. And I said it in 1950. I would like to offer that the kids and the adults and anybody actually come come and join us. It's something I want to do. It's a means to the end for me to go back to Europe. So what I want to offer is, come as you are. Come whatever you want. If you want to share your art, learning our town, or show Arrow Kaboom, I'm there for you. I only ask for some money so I can help myself get better and get going. If you got it, great. If you don't, I understand. Somebody else will. But it's what I do best. And I want to give it to you because you're so nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And what, some Sunday you're gonna sing for us, right?
100%.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so very much. Reverend Ann, are you ready to do a closing prayer?
I never know if I'm ready or not. The Creator always makes sure something comes out, so. Yeah. Yeah. You know, everything that Dr. Eileen spoke about, she always has the most amazing stories. And just little things, like I think about little things where I you know, you go through your day and you're not necessarily thinking that Creator is walking with you, but Creator is always walking with you. I mean, just something as simple as yesterday, after my lunch, I chose to take a different direction home. And I ended up, I turned a little bit early, but, you know, I ended up on a nice little drive. But when I got onto my road, I looked, there was actually an ambulance that was coming and turning left, and I was going right. And I looked in my rearview mirror, and there were lights and sirens everywhere. And if that's the road I would have been coming down had I not taken that alternative route. So I stopped for a minute and I gave thanks for being guided to take that different route home, and for the protection that was there that I wasn't even aware of. I just figure my angels are always flying with me, so, you know, what the heck, but, you know, it's always good. So let's just go and create ourselves a really good week coming forward here, okay? So let's take a moment and close our eyes and breathe in a nice, beautiful breath. And as you breathe in, you're breathing in love, light, guidance, all the love and joy that Creator gives to us, and even the no's. Hold on to that for a minute. And then as you let it go, let go of any disappointment, any worry, any cares that you may be having right now, because as we all have known and we all know, Creator is there with us at all times. Dearest Creator, dearest Mother, Father God, we are so grateful every minute of every day for our lives and for all life, for the earth, for all living creatures, for the rocks, for the sea, for everything, for the wind, Father Sky. We give so much thanks for all of this wonderful energy that's around us. And we know that you are here with us, within us, around us, and through us at every moment, helping us through every moment of our lives. Even in those challenging moments when we think that nothing is ever going to go right again, somehow the light turns back on again. Somehow at some point we go, oh, I know you were there because this happened, which led me to this. I am so grateful and so thankful, and we are grateful and thankful that we are together, both virtually and in person, and with you. And you bless us every moment and every step we take as we go out and just create a beautiful day and a beautiful week and a beautiful world, because everybody that we look at and everyone that we see and every appreciation that we give to nature is a blessing. And that blessing comes back to us. Creator, thank you so much. We love you so dearly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessed be. So it is, and amen.
God was filling his joy everywhere.
Yeah, you can take it home with you. They're suggesting we not hold something for the next week because we don't know how long the COVID virus hangs on to paper. So we're saying take it home. Yeah. April, are you sowing seeds of prosperity? Thank you so very much. And I want to thank you all very much for joining us today. It's been a wonderful service. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Eileen. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Corky. Thank you, all the people who helped. Thank you, Eileen. I'm Annie. I'm looking right at Annie and saying Eileen. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Looking forward to seeing you next week. I'm delighted to say my son's going to be here from Southern California, so you get a chance to say hi to Bob. And today I want to honor my sister Sue and my niece Ginger and son Lynx. And you are, one more time, what's your name? Jay. Thank you so much for joining us all the way over from Salinas. Thank you. Really do appreciate having you here. This is wonderful. And anybody else, if this is your first time, please keep coming back. You know, it works. See you later. Bye now. Thank you.